frequency. I don't chase money, money chase me. I don't work for money, money works for me. What belongs to me will always find me. Miracles follow me daily. What belongs to me will always find me. Chosen, aligned, done.
Welcome, beautiful beings, to Quantum Creators Rewriting Money and Wealth Paradigms. So I'm really excited about what we're going to be talking about today, and it's understanding circulation and really tapping into the universal forces of energy. Now, whatever that looks like for you, whether you say God, source, creator, spirit, infinite, as long as you are connected to something that this universe has been created through, it opens up possibilities for so much more in our experience and our reality, and how we can harness this energy, how we can guide this energy in our experience. And as we've been moving through all of these different layers and understanding our relationship with money and understanding how we view money, that has correlated to how we're experiencing our current reality. I'm going to invite you into something much more expansive, and how we can circulate money, and understanding that it's all just a streamline of energy, and it's the energy in which we do it in that is going to impact in our experience and our reality. Now, for many, experience has been what's been taught, and just awareness, because awareness is going to be huge on what moves through you when you are actually circulating money. When you are at the store, do you have a story around how much money you can spend? Do you have a story about choosing to invest in yourself? Do you have a story around when you pay your bills? Awareness, like I said, is going to be so huge, because the stories we tell ourselves and the state and the energy and frequency in which we are doing things reflects that experience back to us. So I'll just briefly take us back to what I've shared before, is that we are the center point. We are the universe. Everything in our experience is being created through us. So if we want to shift our experience, we have to shift what's moving through internally before we start to see it reflected in our external reality. I'm just going to invite you into a deeper awareness. There is energy surrounding us everywhere. Everything is made up of energy, particles, molecules, and atoms. And when we get to a physical experience, it's slowed down enough. The vibration has slowed down enough to create a physical, tangible experience. And so, in sharing that, we are surrounded at all points in time by energy and frequencies and light that we aren't actually perceiving or seeing with our eyes. So this is going to invite us into a deeper state of trust in the unseen world and how we can really tap in. So there's many out there that are doing this physical reality based on their human capacity and what they are humanly capable of doing in this reality. And we can do a lot as human beings, but when we learn to trust, there's this beautiful force that's moving through the entire cosmos that we have the capacity to tap into. That the very creator frequency that created oceans, created stars, also created you. And so I just want to let that land and feel into the expansiveness, because I really want to elevate your consciousness to think outside of everything we've been programmed, conditioned, and taught to believe in this reality. So I'll just bring us back to circulation in the way in which we circulate money in our experience. And so a lot of our stories around money are creating our experience. Now, if we're operating out of lack and scarcity and there's never enough, we are creating more of that in our experience. If we're in resistance to investing in something, investing in ourselves, we're creating that resistance. When we begin to step out of those old stories and narratives that have created our physical realities, we can move through some uncomfortability, right? When we start spending a little bit more, or we choose investing in something that we truly desire to experience. Maybe it's a vacation, maybe it's a trip somewhere. So when we start stepping into the stories about how I can't, how I don't have enough, where is the money going to come from? We are cutting ourselves off from the universal supply. We're not establishing that trust in the universe and that trust within ourselves. And so we are creating that experience in our reality that will mirror back the very thing that we are believing to be true. So, when we are circulating money, whether that is purchasing groceries, whether that's paying a bill, whether that's investing in something that we desire, the state in which we do it in will directly correlate to how the flow of that energy comes back to us. So, if we are in the state of gratitude, appreciation, and generosity within our being, when we put it out into the universe and begin to circulate it, and we release it in that state of being, we allow the universe to surround and support us and provide those pathways where that can be received back to us. If we are doing it in a state of fear or lack or scarcity, more of that is going to show up in our experience, and it's going to feel like it's going into the abyss and we never receive it back. So it's really in anchoring in that and cultivating that internal state of wholeness, wealth and prosperity, and circulating that in that experience. So more of it always flows back into our experience in different ways, or whether we desire it back in monetary funds, and how we are also being open to receive it. Now, a big piece to this as well is, are you open to receive it? And on our last call, we talked about this, about how the nervous system also has a capacity point, what your body has been programmed to believe you are available to receive. And we talked about lowering the energetic barriers and also resetting the nervous system so you're open to receive more. Because typically we have a capacity point, this point that we believe, based on our reality, based on our experiences, this is as much as I can actually receive in. But when we open and expand that and we allow and cultivate more safety, security, it is safe to have more. It is safe to experience more out of life. We open up our capacity to experience more from life, then we are open and receptive to receive more of that experience. What I'm really inviting everyone into is being aware of the state in which you are investing, in which you are circulating money. And I'll even speak for my personal journey. Anytime I invested with coaches, mentors, programs, and different things to expand my awareness, my consciousness, my capacity so that I could receive those codes, I always did it from a state of an open heart, knowing that the universe would provide the pathways for that money to come back to me, or amplified or multiplied anytime I circulated money in that capacity. Also, in the state in which we're doing it, we're opening up our capacity to trust the Creator even more. And our direct relationship to that is we are the expression of that in this physical reality. And when we learn to trust and also hold the vision and the intention of what we desire, we actually create more of that experience to ripple out and make its way back to us. And so when we do it in that state, that this is growth, this is expansion, this is inviting me into new awarenesses, this is inviting me to break down the stories, the illusions, the programming and conditioning. Yes, it can feel slightly uncomfortable at first, but when we are doing it in that state, we're also surrendering, we're trusting more, we're trusting in the creator of this universe to support us and bring in everything that we desire. And we're also trusting in our own creator capacity to create the pathways that would bring that financial abundance back to us. So another awareness, I know a huge piece, and we're going to go more deeply into this, but is how we circulate from the heart space. There is a lot moving in the collective heart field right now. And so many people are beginning to open up their heart space and be open for more. And so I know the guidance that I've been given in different formats is to really invite people to begin to circulate through their heart field, and being open and receptive to sources guidance on what they are intending to receive, because our heart space is directly correlated to our capacity to be open and to receive. And when we begin to circulate from the heart space, our heart space is directly correlated to our torus field, the largest electromagnetic field that we have. I like to think of it sometimes like we are this big spinning atom, and what we are creating through us gets circulated and brought back in. So, my invitation for many of those stepping into my experience has been to align with the heart space and gift and receive from the heart, because when we gift, we also receive, and it's what are we open and willing to receive from our experience, and are we doing it from a state of elevated consciousness? Are we doing it from a state of trust, allowance, surrender, and allowing the universe to support us? So there's one more piece that I wanted to speak to, so is really about the identity. So, tuning in to what you actually desire to receive in monetary experience, whether it's life experience, wealth, prosperity, and abundance. And when we are tapped into that, what is the identity of the individual that you are? How do you move from that experience? As I've learned, is that many that are highly successful, have millions of dollars, they show up in a specific identity, a specific way, an elevated version of themselves. And so, if that's the desire that you have to experience, how can you show up that way? It's not directly about spending more money, but it's how do you show up in your experience as a person who is wealthy, as a person who is prosperous. Everything starts within us first, and then the external reality starts to mirror that back to us. If that's the desired experience, what is the elevated version of yourself that you are invited to embody in your physical experience? And really get curious and ask yourself some questions. Like, would you be thinking the same thoughts? Would you be operating from the same consciousness? Would you be open and expansive? And how do you show that? How do you represent that? How do you make decisions from that space? And we came into this beautiful reality to experience all levels and all states of consciousness, and there really is no judgment. But if you truly are seeking to operate from a higher, elevated version of yourself and experience an elevated reality, you have to be self aware. And what is the identity or the version of you that you are aligning with? And so I'm going to just invite you to do that deep dive and get curious about how this elevated version of yourself shows up in the world, how you experience your reality, and doing it from a space of being grateful and appreciative of where we are right now, and knowing that the universe is conspiring in our favor to give us everything that we desire when we're holding the vision, when we're showing up in this elevated version, when we operate from a higher expression in consciousness. I would love to hear what new awarenesses you have and how this has landed for you. Please feel free to share in the chat. And with that, beautiful, beautiful souls, I am sending you so much love.